From the polo fields to the forefront of the Indian breeding scene, Major Pradeep Mehra blazed a pioneering trail. From 1972 to 2002, the stud farm he founded, USHA, recorded the fastest 200 classics in Indian turf history. In every sphere of human endeavor, there comes a man who changes the very contours of the arena. Such people encapsulate in themselves vision, experience, tenacity, and hard work. Theirs becomes a life which gives direction, meaning, and purpose to the field in which they plow a lonely furrow. Theirs becomes a life to which fame, fortune, and success are inevitably attracted. They become a legend in their lifetime and an inspiration to the generations that follow. Such is the life of Major P.K. Mehra. This is the fascinating story of a man who strode like a colossus across the Indian breeding scene. This is the story of the passion of his life, the USHA-Stud-Farm. The contributions that Major P.K. Mehra made to the Indian breeding industry form one of the most glorious chapters in Indian racing history. Major P.K. Mehra single-handedly professionalized an activity which was till then a mere hobby. He placed great emphasis on natural rearing and plenty of paddock space. He realized speed was a key element in the racehorse, and he imported fast horses and broodmares. Was he the first man to bring in the speed element into breeding in India?
Before Major Mehra, the kind of stallion that we were looking for in India was, I would say, the Ascot Gold type of winner. A staying horse excelling over 2,400 meters and beyond. Major Mehra's first stallion, Grey Gaston, who went on to sire a record number of 5 Indian Derby winners, was by 1402nd winner of perhaps the most prestigious sprint race of those days, the Prix de la Abbaye, run at Longchamp on the Arc weekend. So Grey Gaston was sired by a pure sprinter, and it was this speed element which Major Mehra was always looking for in his horses.
Though many describe Major P.K. Mehra as fortune's favorite child, he was essentially a pragmatist. He dared to dream and turn his dreams into reality with tenacity and hard work.
Pradeep Mehra was a naval cadet and he should have gone to the Navy. But since we got started playing polo, he enjoyed the game so much that in his 5th term, which was the deciding term to join whichever arm we had to go to, he switched to the army with a lot of persuasion, and I'm sure from that point onwards he never regretted the switch.
From a young army officer in the elite 61st Cavalry, he went on to become the commandant of the President's bodyguard. His official jeep is still in pristine condition. Major P.K. Mehra dreamt of starting a stud farm. This dream had its genesis on the polo field. Pradeep was an accomplished polo player, having captained the Indian polo team in England, Ireland, and Argentina. He played with the likes of Prince Charles. His dreams would have remained the flights of fantasy of a young man, but for his determination. The year was 1969.
I remember him playing in England one year, and the headlines always were, Mehra does this, Mehra does that, Mehra does the other. So I said, oh Pradeep, this is wonderful.
Major Mehra was a very good polo player. He was a good back. I think he went up to a handicap of 5 at his best.
Major P.K. Mehra borrowed £10,000 from his father, went to the Newmarket sales and imported 3 English mares, Dusty Martha, Traxana, Dam of Track Lightning, and Nut. The beginnings of the USHA-Stud-Farm were in the backyard of the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Grey Gaston and his band of broodmares were stabled here. Major P.K. Mehra wanted to change this ad hoc location to a full-fledged stud farm. Major P.K. Mehra gave up his army career and established the USHA-Stud-Farm on the outskirts of New Delhi.
It started all around 40 years back when, I think he was wanting a piece of land which he didn't have and we had. So we gave it to him, and it was payable when able, of a great faith in him. And frankly, we are so proud of him that what he did out of that land was, he made us proud, he made country proud, because he's the best breeder.
I remember the first two thoroughbred horses that I bought were from Usha. In fact, Major Mehra and Bezin Chinoy are the ones I guess were responsible for bringing me into the game. I've had a lot of wonderfully performed Usha breds during my own racing career. They certainly breed top-class horses. Major Mehra, by virtue of his background and the fact that he was a great horseman himself, I think put in place very forward-looking practices in horse breeding, a lot of infrastructure, the highest standard of professionalism, which Amita is carrying on in exemplary style. I think her father ought to be very proud of what she's doing, and the results speak for themselves. I have no doubt in saying that Usha is certainly one of the finest stud farms and breeding establishments, and is truly world class.
The Usha Stud Farm has grown into one of the leading stud farms in Southeast Asia. His wife, Veena Mehra, was the fountainhead of the inspiration that propelled Major Mehra. She played a multifaceted role in his business ventures as administrator, financial manager, and public relations officer. Major Mehra's social life was enlivened by her gracious hospitality. Veena Mehra was his true soulmate. Major Mehra was instrumental in transforming the Indian breeding industry. To him goes the credit of bringing in marketing principles and practices from the corporate world to the sale of bloodstock. He was the one and only practitioner of the buy-back policy in the Indian breeding industry. The beginning of the 90s saw a new star rising on the Indian breeding horizon, Razin, the well-proportioned son of the legendary sire of sires, Northern Dancer. His dam is secret asset who did not race. She comes from the immediate family of private account and woodmen, who are prolific sires, to mention but a few. Razin has already sired 31 classic winners. He has made a profound impact as the most prolific sire in Indian turf history.
In the early 90s, when Razin came to India, it was an invitation weekend in Bangalore. We were having a chat. He told me, he said, I have introduced new dimension to Indian racing. He said, there are Marutis and Suzukis. I have brought in a Ferrari.
The sons and daughters of Razin have covered themselves in glory. Snow Dew emerged as the prima donna in the summer of 2001 at Bangalore.
300 to go, and they're really charging home, and it's Antiquera being pressed very hard by Snow Dew. Comes up with a big run on the outside. Royal Gladiator is out, and Royal Liberator has to do a lot of running at this stage, but Snow Dew breezes past and goes away to win the Kingfisher Bangalore Derby from Royal Liberator, charging home to finish second.
She went on to win the Indian 1000 Guineas.
But Snow Dew has gone ahead, 2.5 lengths in Bena Bangara. On the wheels is way up, that is Queen Cliff. But Snow Dew is about 3.5 lengths in Bena Bangara. Rage on the wheels, Queen Cliff on the outside. The roll and futile chase is by Razina of Snow with the rider looking back. Snow Dew comfortably winning the 1000 Guineas from Rage, Queen's Cliff, Angara, Memories of You.
Standing alongside Razin is the good-looking son of Mr. Prospector, Steinbeck. His dam is Farm Elite, who has won 3 races, including Grand Criterium Group 1. Running Flame won the Indian 1000 Guineas and the Indian Turf Invitation Cup at Bombay.
Great courage here in the Wills Invitation. Running Flame wins the Wills Invitation here in Bombay. It's Running Flame 1, Superbike 2 and 7.
The arrival of Razin heralded a new and dramatic phase in Indian breeding. The competition was roused into action. Amita, the eldest of the three daughters of Major P.K. Mehra, was groomed to assume greater involvement and participation in shaping the future of the USHA-Stud-Farm. One of the ironies of life is that we have no choice over our entrance and exit. All that is given to us is what we can do in the interregnum. For a man who dreamt big and had the passion, will and tenacity to make those dreams come true, the end came at the beginning of the new millennium. Veena Mehra, his steadfast companion in life, accompanied him in his last journey, along with their daughter, Radhika Mehra. Usha is more than a stud farm. It's a haven of love, a tribute to nature, a salute to the greatest of God's gifts, life. It is significant that on the highest point in the stud farm is built the Gnostic Center, a center for the growth of consciousness. Amita, committed to the cause of education and self-development, conducts courses in meditation and stress management. The center also runs a school for tiny tots and is aptly named Lavanya, the future. On 3rd February 2002, USHA-Stud-Farm achieved another landmark by winning its record 9th Indian Derby with a record timing to boot. This is no doubt a milestone in our journey, but the distant horizons beckon us. With Indian breeding gaining increasing international recognition, USHA-Stud-Farm is poised to author another glorious chapter in the history of Indian breeding.
Well, your guess is as good as mine. Yes, he would have won better if the race was faster. No, and I think it all goes back to Grey Gaston and Common Land, that the speed has come from there.